On December 7, 1941, the Japanese Navy attacked Pearl Harbor and flung the U.S. into World War II. It also put discrimination to the forefront as tempers flared against anything and anyone of Japanese descent. Within this maelstrom of prejudice is the story of Virgil Nishimura Westdale. Virgil Westdale was born in Millersburg, Indiana in 1918. Virgil's father was Japanese and his mother was of German and English descent.
These men and their families in World War II were highly discriminated against because they were seen as potential threats to the United States, and they were treated like second-class citizens at best.
When he was 9 years old, the family moved to St. Joseph County, Michigan, and bought a farm. Just 4 years later, Virgil's mother passed away, leaving Virgil's dad with 5 children to raise. Virgil worked on the farm so much that he barely graduated from high school. However, Virgil was able to attend Western State Teachers College, now Western Michigan University. While there, he took flight training to get his private pilot's license. As the war clouds loomed, Virgil did not want to wait to be drafted into the armed forces. He joined the war training service to become a military pilot. Virgil had a gift for flying and quickly rose to be the top in his class. However, his elation would not last long. An agent of the Civil Aeronautics Authority, CAA, confiscated his pilot's license for 5 months. No explanation was given at the time, but Virgil later found out it was because he was half Japanese and that the FBI, Navy Intelligence Service, and the War Relocation Authority had all looked into Virgil and his background. They found nothing, and he was able to get his license back. Virgil became a commercial instrument pilot instructor and was training Army Air Force pilots, but he received a letter transferring him to the infantry. He was demoted to private and went from making $9 an hour to 13 cents an hour.
Virgil ends up being part of the 442nd Regimental Combat Team. The 442nd was composed entirely of Japanese Americans.
The Anglo-Americans didn't trust Virgil because he looked too Japanese, but he was too tall and too Anglo-looking for the Japanese Americans to trust him as well. This man was discriminated against by everybody.
Virgil had never been around other Japanese and was unable to communicate on a cultural level. However, he did make friends and was eventually welcomed. A letter from his sister sent to Eleanor Roosevelt got him transferred from the infantry to the 522nd Artillery. He was still part of the Nisei Regimental Combat Team, but was now in a relatively safer position on the battlefield. The 442nd landed at Anzio, Italy in May 1944 and was soon sent to the front lines. On July 2nd, the unit reached the Arno River and he fought to take Hill 140. Virgil's artillery helped greatly, pounding the German positions, killing over 120 in 6 minutes.
On one of these occasions, a battalion of men from the Texas Division, the 36th, had been trapped and surrounded by the Germans. The Nisei troops were sent in there to get these men out. It became just a horrible battle through there, earning many of these men the Purple Heart for being wounded in this battle. In fact, by the end of their combat time in World War II, the 442nd was the most decorated unit of the entire war. And this all from men that, many of them, their families were in internment camps. You know, they were writing letters back and forth. They were hearing how bad things were. Some of them were even trying to send some of their rations back home in packages. You know, usually soldiers get packages from home. These Japanese American soldiers, these U.S. citizens, these men went out and fought every single day in combat that they were in, became the most decorated unit in World War II. They were fighting not only for themselves, for each other on the combat line, but they were fighting for their families back home. They were fighting for the respect that they were denied by the army and the government at the time. They were fighting for Really, even though they were already citizens, they were fighting for their citizenship, and they were fighting to prove that they were just as American as anyone else.
After helping break the Siegfried Line, the 572nd packed their guns and moved 52 times in 58 days. On April 29, 1945, Virgil and the other men encountered almost 5,000 emaciated survivors in the woods near Munich. This led them to the Kaufering 4 Herlock labor camp, which was a satellite of the Dachau concentration camp. The men shot the lock off the gate and entered the camp. At first, the survivors were afraid of the men, thinking they were soldiers from Japan. The men reassured the survivors that they were American soldiers and began giving them food and blankets. Virgil related his experience in the camp. We began opening doors, which was not the smartest thing to do since we didn't know what was on the other side. Most of us didn't know that these places existed. We had heard of atrocities, but were not prepared for the unbelievable cruelty. The war in Europe ended in May 1945. Virgil spent the rest of that year doing occupation duty. He returned to the U.S. in January 1946. He was so happy to see the Statue of Liberty that he saluted her as the ship sailed past. He returned to college and to work. Virgil was to receive 25 patents for his innovations.
He retired in 1987 at the age of 77. And from there, he wasn't happy with retirement apparently, because he joined the TSA and became an airport security worker. In 2004, before Virgil retired from the TSA, he was awarded the TSA Agent of the Year, well into his 90s.
In 2011, he was awarded a Congressional Gold Medal for his role in World War II. On February 8, 2022, Virgil Nishimura Westdale passed away. He was 104 years old.
Virgil, rather than allowing other people's perceptions to define him, he worked twice as hard to make sure that he made his own name. He was an amazing man that deserves to be honored, respected, and remembered.